I wanted to start today with a little bit of good news, which we don't often have to share with you, but a majority of the Supreme Court appeared ready today to uphold most of the Affordable Care Act. And this, of course, comes in the face of the challenge from these states that are led by fascist son-of-a-bitches who have now become Trumpists, and the neo-Nazi who is being run out of town himself, the orange bastard Donald Trump. Two key members of the court, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, the drunk. Both of them said that Congress's decision in 2017 to zero out the penalty for not buying health insurance did not indicate a desire to kill the entire law. Well, how about that? Although that was the major attempt by these dumbasses in the Republican Party to try to kill the Affordable Care Act, was to deny the act the funding necessary. It's just like your car insurance, for Christ's sake. If you are driving an automobile, I would imagine in all 50 states, I don't know about Alaska, I don't know about the Dakotas, but if you drive a vehicle in any of the 50 states, you better, by God, have car insurance. You're forced to buy it by the state, by the liberals who have taken over all state governments, which is horseshit, but that's what these right-wingers would have you believe. So you are forced to have car insurance. It is the responsible thing to do, just like you are forced to put on your seatbelt. For Christ's sake, what is hard about this? And if you're caught without your seatbelt, you're going to pay a small fine. If you are caught without auto insurance, you may lose your right to drive in certain states. So the Affordable Care Act simply said, you have to buy health insurance, and if you don't, there's going to be a penalty. You have to buy auto insurance, and if you don't, there's going to be a penalty. You have to put on your seatbelt, and if you don't, there's going to be a penalty. What the hell is wrong with this? Nothing. But this country has become so, fucked over by these neo-fascist slime that a simple admonition to take care of yourself, fasten your seatbelt, take care of yourself, have health insurance, that something like that is now seen as, I don't know what, communism? Some kind of liberal attack on your right to be maimed and wounded. Helmet laws. That's another one. I love helmet laws where it concerns motorcycles. I'm not wearing no goddamn helmet. You're going to tell me what to do. Yeah, we don't have a mandatory helmet law here in Georgia. And every time I see these fat-ass bikers, and they're all fat-ass, the men and the women, have you noticed that? I'm serious. The ones who drive the big Harleys and so on and so forth, they are lard asses of the highest degree. Just big old obese swine with their bearded faces, and those are the women. It's just disgusting. But every time I see one of them without a helmet, I applaud. Because I know that son of a bitch is going to wind up dead on the side of the road, teeth, hair, and eyeballs all over the place. But he or she will have some harvestable organs that will go to people who need them. So you dumb shits who ride your motorbikes, your motorcycles with no helmets, keep it up. Yes, keep doing it. But you get my point. So Justice Kavanaugh, the drunk, said to a lawyer who the lawyers are already attacking and defending this in front of the Supreme Court, but to one of the lawyers defending the law, the drunk justice said, quote, I tend to agree with you. This is a very straightforward case for severability under our precedents, meaning that we would excise the mandate and leave the rest of the act in place. Okay? The mandate being you have to buy health insurance. Oh, no, I won't. Okay. All right. Now, if you remember, it was Justice John Roberts who who wrote the Supreme Court decision back in 2012, when these unconscionable pricks in the Republican, now neo-fascist party, challenged the law, and Justice Roberts wrote the decision upholding the constitutionality of the act. And if you remember, he upheld it because he saw the act as a tax, and that Congress and only the House, and only the House, has the right to levy taxes. Okay, very simple. And he is suggesting again now that the Supreme Court justices should not do something Congress itself has failed to do, which is to repeal the law. Congress makes and Congress takes, right? The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Same thing applies to the U.S. Congress here. Justice Roberts told the Texas Solicitor General, who is trying to deprive people, not just in his state, but across the country, of health insurance. Justice Roberts told this freak, Kyle Hawkins, quote, "I think it's hard for you to argue that Congress intended the entire act to fall if the mandate were struck down, when the same Congress that lowered the penalty to zero did not even try to repeal the rest of the act. I think, frankly," he went on, "that they wanted the court to do that, but that's not our job." End quote. Justice John Roberts to this freak bastard Kyle Hawkins, who is the Texas Solicitor General, leading this red state effort to destroy health care for millions upon millions of Americans. What is wrong? No, don't even ask it again. Now, obviously, the court's three liberal justices, again, are ready to defend the law. And with those three justices, Roberts and the drunk, that would be 5, which obviously is a majority. And at this point, it is unclear if other neo-fascist justices on the court thought the objecting states like Texas and the administration of the Orange Bastard had even made their case. The Supreme Court right-wing neo-fascist justices, which would include Sammy the Fish and Gorsuch and the new one, Justice Catholic, whatever her last name is, and of course Uncle Clarence, who sits back there in the corner, old Uncle Clarence, munching on his peanuts, just waiting so he can go, right, you go, Uncle Clarence, you go. Now, a Washington lawyer named Donald Verrilli, Jr., you don't have to remember this. Not like yesterday when I gave you terms to remember. Just let this one float in and float out. Anyway, Donald Verrilli, Jr., who was Barack Obama's Solicitor General, had defended the law at the Supreme Court previously, and he's back. And this time, he's arguing on behalf of the House of Representatives. Yes! He told the Supremes that to intervene to kill the law would cause disruption in the healthcare market, which it damn sure would, and a loss of coverage to more than 20 million Americans while we're battling a pandemic. Holy Christ. And that 20 million American figure is batted around all the time. The ripple effect from repealing this law would affect a hell of a lot more than 20 million Americans, because a lot of states would then jump on the bandwagon, the states that have agreed to the expansion of Medicaid, and say, well, screw it. They're going to kill the Affordable Care Act. We're going to kill the expansion of Medicaid. So the 20 million figure is bullshit. It's more like 100 million, more than 100 million. But anyway, Verrilli, who was Obama's Solicitor General for a while, said this, quote, "To assume that Congress put all of that at risk when it amended the law in 2017 is to attribute to Congress a recklessness that is both without foundation and reality and is jurisprudentially inappropriate." Wow, jurisprudentially. Yeah, I like that word. That's I'd like to see Trump try to pronounce it, much less define it. Anyway, he's making the point that Congress had no idea or reason to cancel the law They just heard the complaints about, well, we don't like to be forced to buy it. Okay, dumbass, then we'll take that part out. Oh, my God. Anyway, really went on, quote, in view of all that transpired in the past decade, the litigation before this court, the battles in Congress, the profound changes in our healthcare system, only an extraordinarily compelling reason could justify judicial invalidation of this law at this late date, end quote, which translates to simply, you Supreme Court justices would be out of your minds if you cancel the law. And besides, as Chief Justice John Roberts pointed out, it is not the duty. It is not the duty of the court, how many times have we heard this, to legislate or delegislate. If the Congress, the House, the Senate, if they want to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, and I think it's only up to the House, then get rid of it. But don't push it off on the Supreme Court, you cowardly pricks. I'm referring to the Republicans. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com. And never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.